Now it's time to get Splunk up and running on your system. Over the next few videos, we are going to show you how to install a single instance deployment of Splunk on various systems. If you will be administering Splunk for your organization, we suggest you watch all of the videos. If you only need to know how to install Splunk for your local system, please feel free to skip to the video for that operating system. Let's start by installing Splunk on a Linux server. First, we need to get the software from Splunk.com. We click the free Splunk button in the top right of the interface. Then the free download button for Splunk Enterprise. Clicking the Linux tab, we are given options to download DEB, RPM, or a TGZ archive. For this demonstration, we are going to use the TGZ file. Clicking the Download Now button will start the download to the local system. Splunk also provides you an option to use wget if you choose. Since we are installing this on an external server, we are going to use wget from the command line of that server. One note, as with most software, we suggest you do not install Splunk as the root user. Splunk can live in any accessible directory. In this case, we'll install in the opt directory, so let's untar the archive there. We then navigate to the Splunk bin directory. The commands you'll likely use most with Splunk are start, stop, and restart, but a full list of commands can be seen using the help command. To run Splunk, we use the start command. The Splunk license is displayed. We can read through it or use the accept license argument to accept it. As Splunk starts up, you will see it grab the ports it needs and generate keys. Once completed, it will display the Splunk web interface address. Using the address in our browser, we are taken to the Splunk web interface. If you're installing on Windows, you have the option to use a graphical user interface installer, or the command line. For this example, we will be using the GUI. As with Linux, we get the software from Splunk.com by clicking the free Splunk button in the top right of the interface, then the free download button for Splunk Enterprise. Under the Windows tab, we are given options to download the 32 or 64-bit versions. If you're unsure if the system is 32 or 64-bit, you can check the system type in the system properties. After the installer is downloaded, we run it by double-clicking on it. The setup wizard will do a quick check to make sure your system meets requirements and then displays the license screen. There is a button to view the license agreement and a checkbox to accept it. At this point, we can either install Splunk with the defaults or customize our installation. Let's click on the Customize options to see what settings can be changed. The first option is to change the installation location of Splunk. We are fine with this location, so we click Next. We choose what account type to install Splunk as, local system or domain account. A local system account will allow Splunk to access all data on or forwarded to this machine, while a domain account will allow you to collect logs and metrics from remote machines as well as local and forwarded data. We will use a local system account for this demo. We can select to have a shortcut to Splunk added to the Start menu and click Install. Once installed, we can choose to have Splunk launch and click Finish. The Splunk web interface opens in our default browser, indicating that Splunk is running on the system. While there might not be as many servers running Mac OS as Windows and Linux, it still makes a great development and testing environment. To get Splunk for OS X, go to Splunk.com and click the free Splunk button in the top right of the interface. After selecting Free Download for Splunk Enterprise, select the Mac OS tab. There are two versions of the OS X download, a DMG file and a TGZ archive. The DMG is a disk image file that makes installing Splunk as simple as a button click. The TGZ file is an archive of the Splunk directory, allowing you to install the software any place you would like on your system. It's useful if you want to match your local development directories to your production environment. For this demo, let's use the DMG. Clicking on the file will open a disk image with a shortcut to the Splunk installer. Clicking it will open the install window. The Continue button will take us to the software license. We agree to it. Here, we can select which drive to install Splunk on. We are OK with the system drive, so we click Install. The installer will validate the file and start the install. A brief initialization is performed. A terminal window will open and some commands will run. Once complete, we are given choices to start Splunk and open in a browser, just start Splunk, or to cancel and close the installer. We select to have Splunk start and view in the browser. A terminal window is opened while the start command is run. Once Splunk is launched, we are taken to the Splunk interface in our browser window. Splunk puts a helper link on your desktop to start and stop Splunk, but Splunk can also be started from the terminal. Moving into the bin folder inside the Splunk application directory, we can use commands with Splunk that will start, stop, or restart the instance. A full list of commands can be seen using the help command. Splunk also offers its machine data platform and licensed software as a subscription service called Splunk Cloud. Splunk Cloud deployments are created by Splunk to address the needs of the capacity that has been purchased, removing infrastructure requirements from your plate. A Splunk Cloud trial plan allows you to index up to 5 GB per day for 15 days. While Splunk Cloud can be used for the lab modules of this course, remember that your cloud access will not last the full 30 days of the course. To start a Splunk Cloud trial, we click the Free Splunk button on the Splunk.com homepage. Under Splunk Cloud, there is a Free Cloud Trial button. Clicking it, we are asked to either log in or create a Splunk account. We enter our credentials and click the Log In and Start a Free Trial button. An instance is created for us. Once complete, we hit the View My Instance button. Authentication credentials are passed to the server and the license agreement is displayed. Upon accepting, we are connected to the Splunk Cloud Web GUI. Since this is the first time we have signed into Splunk Web, we are given the default username of admin and the password of ChangeMe. After logging into Splunk Enterprise, we are directed to an app. Apps are pre-configured environments that sit on top of your Splunk Enterprise instance, extending the pre-built knowledge and capabilities. You can think of them as workspaces, built to solve a specific use case. The apps you see are defined by a user with a Splunk administrator role. A quick note on roles. Roles determine what a user is able to see, do, and interact with. There are 3 main roles in Splunk Enterprise: the administrator role, the power role, and the user role. The administrator role is the most powerful, can install apps, and create knowledge objects for all users. The power user can create and share knowledge objects with all users of an app and do real-time searches. The user role will only see their knowledge objects and those that have been shared with them. Splunk Enterprise comes with 2 apps. A home app that gives you a quick place to explore Splunk Enterprise. It allows you to launch and manage Splunk apps. Administrators can also add apps and data from here. The other default app is the Search and Reporting app. For this course, we will be doing most of our work here with a power user role. There are hundreds of more apps on Splunk Base for extending Splunk Enterprise, or you can build your own. I have added a link to Splunk Base and the education courses that cover developer topics to your notes.